And then sometimes you can have all sorts of odd notions coming out which you wouldn't have expected. I've no idea what this is. It looks absolutely revolting. But maybe it will produce something when it's blown up.
This is 1 o'clock in the morning as well. I've come back from Chelmsford all the way, like, you know where I've come back from Chelmsford all the way, like, you know where
I'm impressed. It's nice to see people out taking pictures.
Yeah, but we were looking at you and we're wondering what you're doing.
Well, I'm not surprised. I wonder what I'm doing half the time. My name's Steve Lawrenson. I started in photography when I was 12 or 13. My father gave me a camera. It was a Brownie Reflex, a 620. This was in the days when reflex cameras had two lenses, one for viewing and one for taking the photo. They were both rubbish, but it all looked very impressive and might have been described as a poor man's Rolly. And I used that for several years, taking black and white films predominantly. That lasted until I got to university. I found other things to do, and it wasn't until I came to Reigate back in the mid-70s that I took up photography again, this time using 35mm cameras and a variety of those that occurred over the years. I've become subject to Parkinson's disease in recent years, which has left me with a tremor. Fortunately, the improvement in camera technology has enabled me to still take pictures without any noticeable loss of quality. The thing I love most about photography is its variety. I can go to a club and see a whole variety of different places and approaches to life that I haven't actually been able to experience. And it widens my horizons. The first photographic club I came across was whilst I was still at school. My father's barber was a member of the South Suburban Photographic Society, and I was often taken to their annual exhibitions. And I came to meet fellow photographers and see quite a wide range of images that were well outside my personal experience. The same is true of clubs today. We see all kinds of people taking pictures of different sorts, images that today are possible because of technology, but which in times past could never have been achieved. We had now focus stacking and an ability to control exposure to an extent that's been denied to us in previous years. And I never cease to be amazed at the ingenuity of people in the club areas and the way in which they go about recording their various images. The style of photography that appeals to me most, I think, is simplicity. I don't like complicated pictures particularly, and I do enjoy simple lines and lighting wherever it can affect the end result that the photographer is trying to achieve. The thing that makes a photograph memorable to me is something that has impact and simplicity. It could be almost any subject, any time, any lighting condition, but it needs to have just that little bit of extra that the photographer has put into the picture. I think simply my enjoyment of photography is what I'm trying to put across. I have no deep message that I'm trying to convey other than my pleasure at using a camera to record an image of light and life. Over the years I've taken different pictures and different types of picture depending on my ability and mood. At one stage I was deeply involved with landscape photography and enjoyed that tremendously. I've on occasion taken pictures of people, largely unsuccessfully, but where I'm able to record my vision of somebody that I've got in front of my camera, I enjoy that tremendously. The most significant picture I think I've ever taken, I honestly couldn't recall. I joined Reigate Photographic Society in 1978, just after their annual exhibition. The annual exhibition is a high point of the photographic year for many of our members, and it's one not to be underestimated. I think members of photographic societies gain all kinds of benefits. It's very easy to be isolated behind the lens of a camera and to see things in a very one-sided view. By joining a photographic club, you encounter people with different interests, persuasions, abilities, and enthusiasms. Some of it will rub off on you, some of it certainly won't. But the one thing that is absolutely certain is if you don't come along and participate, you're missing out in a very big way. We have members who will take travel pictures. We have members who are enthusiasts for wildlife and take remarkable images of a very high standard that I've never been able to aspire to and certainly don't have the ability to achieve. But I benefit from that by being able to see what other people are doing, and the same applies to other members. I'm always happy to tell people what I know they can achieve and guide them as to how it can be done. And I know that there are many other members of the club who are similarly inclined. I eventually became an associate of the Royal Photographic Society a good many years ago now. That required you to take 15 images on a theme and to display those in either print or transparency form. This was before the days of modern digital imaging, and it was film based. My theme was rusty American cars, which I enjoyed tremendously. I went on a series of trips in the late 80s, early 90s with Roger Reynolds across various parts of the States, predominantly in the southwest. And I accumulated my images during the course of those journeys. I wasn't so much interested in the highly polished versions, but those that were showing signs of age and distress, rather like me, appealed no end to my sense of humour. I put together a panel and went to a venue in the Midlands where I witnessed the adjudication. It was very nearly the shortest life of an associate, because the chairman of the judging panel took exception to my images and wasn't in the least bit inclined to allow me to be admitted as an associate. Fortunately, his fellow panelists were not so inclined, and I was in due course duly awarded with the associateship. I probably wouldn't be able to do it today. The start of my judging career is now long ago. It arose because somebody asked me to consider becoming a judge, and insisted that I went through what was laughingly called a judge's course. This involved us looking at and commenting on various images of dubious merit, some of which had been perpetrated by the assessors of the course. I must have passed primarily because I think they were getting fairly desperate for judges at that stage, and before long I discovered that some people must have taken a liking to me, because it was at one point reported that I was taking on more judging events than any other judge on the Surrey Fed panel. Of course, the perishers don't tell you that until it's too late, and you discover you're being overworked. But I've enjoyed it no end. The criteria for competition marking is generally set by the Surrey organisation, and it works on the principle that a good image would achieve a mark of 7. Anything over and above that is to be recommended and recognised by a higher numerical award. Some of my fellow judges will consider that an image has to be sharp in order to be satisfactory. I'm not so disposed to go in that direction. What interests me is the emotion that the picture arises in me. It can be as unsharp as you like, but if it produces an emotion, then in my view it's likely to warrant a higher mark than one that doesn't. In my time, I have held most of the posts on the Reigate committee, with the sole exception of the treasurer, because I've no desire to get involved with the money. Much the same thing happened with the Surrey organisation. Reg Seal, my late lamented friend, decided that when the secretary of that organisation gave up the ghost, that I should take on the task, which I duly did. And sod's law being what it is, the then vice chairman decided that I should follow him as vice chairman, and eventually became chairman of the organisation on a couple of occasions. And it led me to the period when we were dealing with the demise of the Central Association, which was the regional organisation of the PHEB at that time. Kent gained autonomy, and Surrey did so too, and I was able to lead the organisation through that rather difficult period of time. It's certainly paid off, I think, in terms of the way in which the organisations have been able to develop over the years, and it would appear certainly that both organisations valued my contribution, which led them to apply to the PHEB for my associateship. It's never been a matter of work for me, but photography is all about pleasure and enjoyment.